Welcome to Galactic Collector, where today we're going to take a look at how to fix DC-powered motors. These guys are used in pretty much all the vehicles in the Star Wars vintage line, usually just to make a little screen noise. This particular case, we're taking a look at an X-Wing where things just aren't working. So we'll start off by taking a look at the main switch. We're going to clean this off first, always a good test. Use a little steel wool, make it nice and shiny. Next thing we'll do is take a look at the other end of where the batteries make contact. This particular case, you see it's pretty corroded and rusted down there. I'm going to take my handy Dremel tool with a grinder attachment on there. This reaches down easily into this battery compartment, and I'm going to shine that up so I get some nice contact on that copper down there. So we can see that's nice and shiny. So we'll take, at this point, a battery pack and test this out. Let's see what happens. I've got this battery pack set up with some alligator clips just to make this testing a little bit easier. We're going to go ahead and connect these based on the polarity that's listed on the bottom. And when we make contact here, we see the motor's definitely not working, but the LED lights up. So that's a good sign that the main wiring is at least intact. What I like to do next, just to make sure there's no other wiring issues, is let's connect the batteries to the motor itself directly, and it's still not working. So we've got something going on here that we need to take a look at. Now, I picked the X-Wing because it's got this little bracket in here. Most of the other motors don't have this, and that's a little easier. So we need to take this guy off. I'm going to take a couple of drill bits. I'm going to start with a smaller one. And I usually have good luck with a 5/32. The 5/32 is almost the perfect size to drill out the posts that are holding this bracket in. I'll grab a larger one just in case we need to go a little bit bigger. But on this blue bracket, if you take a look, there's a little dimple in the four corners. So I'm going to pre-drill a hole with a small drill bit in each of those dimples. And that gives the 5/32 just a easier path to follow. When you go down, you feel it goes down just a little bit, and then it breaks into some of the whiter plastic, so you know you've gone far enough. At this point, sometimes you need a little extra help, so I like to have a screwdriver handy. But if you reach in with your fingers and just give it a little pull, usually it's going to snap off at this point. So that worked pretty well this time. And the next thing that we're going to do is just remove this motor out of the X-Wing altogether. The wires are held in really just by these little friction tabs that'll slide right out. Sometimes they take a little extra force, but trust me, they will come out. And as we take a look on here, there's some good indicators. There's a negative and a positive, so we know exactly how to put this back together. So from here, we're going to grab a precision screwdriver. You need something smaller because there's these little metal tabs that hold this plastic cap on the back. And we're going to simply bend these straight. You don't have to go too crazy with them. Get them pretty straight just so the plastic can slide out. We're going to go ahead and hit both sides here. And this motor's a nice one. It really, at this point, it's going to slide right out. And you'll notice we've got some brass contacts or copper contacts and then a little copper hub in here, and both of these are pretty filthy. They've got some residue buildup. Probably, I'm not sure what they used originally in the factory when they put them together, maybe some dielectric grease, but it holds some gook. And we're going to just take some tools here and clean this gook off. I find just a little dental scraper works great. This little plastic tool that I'm using will hold these little copper pieces just to give them a little support. And then we're going to just take a paper towel and wipe that hub down that's on the inside. Usually that's all it needs. You want to get it so that you just see a nice copper sheen on that little hub. So we want to throw a little lubrication on here. That's going to keep the motor going pretty well. 3-in-1 oil works, sewing machine oil, and any kind of machine oil. I've used just for your compressor, that type of oil. That all works good. Now we've got a little index here on this plastic cap that helps guide us where to put things back together. So we've got kind of the two ends that we saw, and then this tab, this little index, that'll go on this third little mark that's on the metal part. So we line that up and slide that carefully in, and our motor is back together. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bend these tabs back in at this point because this motor was actually in not too bad a shape. I've seen way worse where it needed, I felt like I had to test it before I bent these back in because it might need some more cleaning. But in this particular case, we're just going to give it a go here. If you got to do it again, it's really not hard to bend those back out. We'll throw a little oil on this side too and give this motor a spin. And that lets the oil work in there, and then we clean up any excess again. So let's test it out. So we're going to take a look at our polarity again and connect the right wires. Once those are seated in firmly, we're going to go ahead and grab our battery pack again and connect that up. And look at that, our motor is working like a champ now. A lot of times this is really all that it takes. I'll let it run and so the oil gets in there and we know it's in good shape again. Now to finish putting this back together, we got to get this bracket back on. So what I usually do is pop a little hot glue in and then just push a couple of screws in each of those holes, and then I hold it so that it sets. This will let us take this apart if we ever need to again. Hopefully we won't need to. But we can see here now our X-Wing is back in working condition. It makes its little noise and the LED lights up, and we are good to go. I hope you enjoyed this video from Galactic Collector. Head on over to galacticcollector.com if you're interested in the vintage Star Wars line. You can track your collection, get price guides, and just learn about the accessories and the figures themselves from the original 3 3/4 inch line. Thanks for watching.